Christian greetings to all our viewers. We thank God who has brought us this far. God has been so good. He has loved us, cared for us, provided for us, protected us. God has been a sustainer. We thank God for all of you who have been viewing this program, supporting us one way or the other, standing with us in prayer. Thank you. May God bless you abundantly. We are continuing to talk about the price you pay as a parent. And today I want to talk about redeeming the next generation. The generation we are in is filled with a lot of things which are just fighting for the survival of the next generation. People are lovers of money, they have selfish ambitions, they are arrogant, they are proud. You name it, they are there. And when you look at Uganda, the nation, most of the people are corrupt, filled with corrupt practices and attitudes. And then there's also the shedding of innocent blood. You hear this one and that one killed for different reasons. And then you don't also stop there. And then there's also satanic worship which has gone on the increase. But we want to save a remnant. The Lord has protected us and kept us alive to this age simply because He wants us to redeem the next generation. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4 to 9. Let me start from verse 4. It says, "O hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be upon your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates." Abraham Lincoln said that this is a quote. I'm quoting Abraham Lincoln, who was the president of the USA, that there is just one way to bring up a child in the way he should go, and that is to travel that way yourself. It means that if you want to bring up a child as a Christian, you need to walk as a Christian. You need to move together. You need to practice what you are preaching. The challenge which we have today is this: we preach something different and we practice something different. And it is a sad story in Uganda that we have so many powerful preachers of the gospel. They preach to others, but the sad point is one: their families, their precious jewels, their children are not Christian, they are not saved. They don't want to hear, simply because of one thing: what they preach is not what they practice at home. One time a pastor was preaching a powerful message. He was talking about love, that you should love your wives. And as he's preaching that powerful message, the church is moving in the wave of how you should love, and he's comparing himself how he loves his wife. One of his child comes running into the church, a young child, and is being chased by an older child. They run, and then the child comes into the laps of her mothers. And then he stretches forth his finger and says, I'm going to beat you the way Dad beat Mom last night. And she cried. The whole church kept quiet. And they were mesmerized. And the wife got her Bible, got her child, and walked out of the church. And the church kept silent for about 1 to 2 minutes. And then the pastor continued and said, "Whoever has never done it, let him be the first to criticize me." We see that most of the people, they lead a double life. They have the private life and the public life. In the public life, they want to paint for us a picture that they are angels. Whereas at home, they are demons. I want to challenge you that if we are going to redeem the next generation, we need to walk the talk. How do we walk the talk? The Bible has already told us how we can do it. It has told us from verse 4, hear, O Israel, the Lord was concerned about the next generation. He says, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be upon your hearts. And so Israel was to love the Lord. It had to love the Lord with all their hearts. They had to love the Lord with all their soul and with all their strength. It means that you don't give God halfway. You give him the whole way. You either go the whole way or you leave it. And this is one of the most quoted scriptures in the Bible. And verse 4 is the most quoted verse. We see it even, Jesus Christ quoted it in Matthew 22:37 and Luke 10:27. He talks about it. And Moses repeats it again even in Deuteronomy 10, verse 12 to 30, to show you how important it is. And so when I was reading this, then it says, impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, and when you lie down, and when you get up. He says, what you practice, impress it upon your children. As you love God, as you walk the Christian way, then do the same. Impress it. In others, I can say, the first thing you need to do is inculcate the fear of the Lord in the life of your children. Inculcate the fear of the Lord. Let the children grow up knowing that our father, our mother, they fear God. But you hear people, they stand up and say, I fear nobody. And others, we see them in public, in television. They have a godly fear, godly nature, but at home they are different. And in private they are different. They do something different. And that's why the best thieves, the best liars are going to come from the next generation, which is going to succeed this generation. Because everything terrible, the children have seen it being done. The corruption, the theft, the stealing, the lying. Somebody does something and then he goes on television and defends it and makes crafty things to turn away the truth. The Bible tells us that if we want to get a generation which we are going to redeem, he says the first thing we need to do, we need to love the Lord. You need to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. When you love the Lord your God, and you put these commandments which God gave to us and write them on the tablet of your heart, what will happen is one, you'll be able to share them because what you have is what you give out. You'll be able to impress them on your children. And this, the writer of Deuteronomy says that do this, talk about them when you sit at home. When you sit at home, what are you talking about? What are you gossiping about? What you are talking about is what you do impress on your children. What you are planning, they see you, they are very observant, and that's what they will do. In others, we need to instill in them the idea or the attitude of what? Of fearing God. By what? By persistent instruction. We instruct them. And that's what he's telling there. When you are at home, talk about them. When you walk along the road, you talk about them. Share with them. They need to know. And then he doesn't stop there. He says, when you lie down and when you get up, in others, when you are going to sleep, do you pray? Talk about God. Talk to God. When you wake up in the morning, talk to God. That's how what I practiced when I was raising up my children. Before we sleep, we used to talk about God and to talk to God. When we woke up, the whole family had to wake up and pray. And then we go and do our chores, different chores. Then the second thing we need to do, if we are going to redeem the next generation, train your child in the right way to go. In other words, impart Christian values, which are very important, and the making and the idea of making the right decisions. I've brought a book here which is very important. It was written by Mark and Judy Hayban. They wrote this book, and it's called God's Blueprint for Marriage. God's Blueprint for Marriage. They compiled different writers who wrote about the family, about rearing children, and so on. This is a powerful manual. It's very important. If you can, try to get it, but I don't know if it is in Uganda. You can get it in Nairobi. Nairobi, if you go, there's a bookshop called East Books. You can find it there. But in this book, let me quote, they were quoting here about a man most of you know very well, John Maxwell. In his book he was writing about breakthrough parenting and lifestyle modeling. He was writing about that book, Breakthrough Parenting. He said this: children live what they learn. If a child lives with criticism, he learns to condemn. If a child lives with hostility, he learns violence. If a child lives with the rebuke, he learns to be shy. If a child lives with shame, he learns to feel guilty. If a child lives with encouragement, he learns confidence. If a child lives with praise, he learns to appreciate. If a child lives with fairness, he learns justice. If a child lives with security, he learns faith. If a child lives with approval, he learns to like himself. If a child lives with acceptance and friendship, he learns to love the world. Those were the words of John Maxwell. And so, as quoted by Mark and Judy Hayban. And so what I want to say is this: train your child in the right way. That's why the Bible says in Proverbs 22, verse 6, it talks about raising. It said, train a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not turn from it. It is what you put into the child. And what you put there. Because if a child is made, if a tree is straight from child, when it is too young, it will remain like that. But if it bends, when it grows up, you can't bring it back to the right position. And so I want to challenge you, get time to train your child in Christian values, what we value as Christians, and in making right decisions. And lastly, if we are to redeem the next generation, give your child the necessary skills so that they can survive and function in their generation. God has created these children during their generation, where there will be everything, name it, it is there. Now there is the business of artificial intelligence. They are making figures which can talk and so on. You ask it, it answers you. It can do all the chores. If it is a woman, you can even sleep with her and then have every affair you want. They have made it. And God has made these children ready to survive in that what? In that generation. So how can they survive there? The only way to survive there is when we give them the necessary survival what? Skills. Give them the right skills, the Christian skills. How to conduct themselves, how to make the right decision, what to do and what to avoid, what is building and what is not building. Let them know, let them skill them. Many parents, they are doing a lot of things. They are piling up money, they are stealing money, they are doing everything. They are building estates and so on. And these children, they haven't been taught to do what? They haven't been taught accountability. And because they haven't been taught accountability, they lose. They haven't been taught equal opportunities because their parents use their positions to enrich themselves. So Jeremiah said that Jeremiah 17, that somebody who gathers wealth in a false way. It's like what? It's like a hen which hatches eggs it never lay. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what will come out and eat you. There has to be equal opportunity. You give them, teach those necessary skills. Teach them integrity. That is very important. Teach them orderliness. There should be order. But most of our friends are used to bypass you, to push you around. Sometimes we are in a queue and you see somebody pushing you. And so what I do is I just allow it, but please pass. Because they are used to push their way out. They want everything fast. And teach them the skills of unity in our diversity. Let them respect others, whether they are of the same faith or not, they are the same faith. Whether they are of the different gender, whether of different tribe, different culture, different beliefs. Teach them that they have to maintain unity in our diversity. May God help us as we redeem the next generation. God has preserved you. And this is what the Lord told me. I have preserved you and I have left you there so that you can do what? So that you can scale the next generation. Have a job to disciple the next generation so that they can survive during their what? During their generation. May God help us, all of us parents, to do that. God bless you in Jesus' name. I love you.